Hey there everybody, Robert Taylor here with Wonderscape Creations doing another video for Narrative Pro. So there's a couple things we need to do before we actually get animations working with our skeleton. Um, Generally speaking, the process will be the same, um, but there may be some differences depending on your character skeletons. For me, we are using metahumans, and because we're using metahumans, the default UE5 skeleton will work. Excuse the weirdly looking nude woman here. Nothing you can do about it when you're setting this stuff up. So making this as unawkward as possible. Um, so we need to get in our animations. I am using, find it here for you guys. Here, animations. Now, this guy has some of the best animations I've ever experienced, so I'm curious to see how they work. I'm using his Essential Greatsword animation pack. Um, yeah, this is what we are choosing to do for the time being. Now that I see how the one-handed is, I might go with one-handed. Nah. For the sake of the video, we'll keep it two-handed for now. So, let's go ahead and get that started. Once you have your animations downloaded, the big important thing that you have to do is make sure that your animations will work. Luckily, if you have animation packs that use Unreal Engine 5's Mannequin, it's super easy. So you'll want to find the mannequin that's being utilized. So if I just search for it, for me, Essential Animations Greatsword Demo Mannequin UE5 Mannequin Meshes, and I found the skeleton there. Once you have the skeleton open for the animation asset, you're going to want to open up the retargeting window. Obviously, if you don't see it, go to Windows and search for retargeting and check mark it on. And then you're going to want to come in here and select Add Skeleton and look for the SK mannequin that is needed. Now, it's important that you get the correct one. And easy way to find out which one you need. For me, I changed the skeleton of my metahumans to the mannequin that Narrative Pro uses. So if you just look for SK underscore mannequin and you'll hover over it until you find, let me take a picture here, make this a little easier for me. That way I can walk through it with you. You'll hit add skeleton, search for SK underscore mannequin, and then you'll mouse over it and look at the path until you find the correct path, which, as I said, I'll leave it up here for you for a second. It's Narrative Pro, Assets, Character, Mannequins, Meshes, and it'll be the SK underscore mannequin. Now, if you need more time, go ahead and pause it. We're going to keep on going. Once you have added that to the skeleton, you will now be able to see all of the animations on your character. As you can see, she's currently standing because I went and looked for the animation that we'll be using. So search for whichever equip animation you plan on utilizing. And once you found it, go ahead and click on it so it starts playing it. I have mine paused for the moment. So if I hit play, it's going to start doing it. Now, we need this for a very important reason. So as you can see right here, this is the moment in which the weapon is in the player's hand. So we're going to go ahead and keep it just like that. And we need to find our socket for her back. And here it is. Now you'll notice something very interesting about this socket. It's red. And there's a very good reason for doing that. Um, we don't want to add more sockets to the skeleton of narrative prose unless we want to lose that information. So what I did was I right clicked, and here I'll show it on a different skeleton. I mean on a different one. So here we have the socket holster. If I right click on it, I can create mesh socket. So and that's what it does. It turns it into a mesh socket for this mesh. Now, if we want another socket, we can right click, add socket, and it'll add a socket. And then you can turn it into a mesh socket if it's not red. I'm not sure. I've never made a socket on a mesh directly. But anyways, once it's red and you know it's there, zero it out. So come in here into the details and zero it out because they have theirs. If we go into the skeleton here, and then skeleton tree, and I come to where their back one is, and go to details, you'll see that they have theirs changed. And they have it set specifically for their gun. Um, Instead of zeroing it out and then doing an offset. So you don't want to deal with that. Close that out. Make sure you zero it out. Zero everything except for the relative scale. Keep it at 1. Now once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and right click on it. We need to add our weapon. So I'm going to search for it here. For some reason I kept the mesh one out instead of the static mesh. I mean the skeletal mesh one. And what we are going to do, let me make this larger here, is right click on our socket and add preview asset and search for our preview asset. So for me, SKM underscore great sword 01. And there we go. This is what it looks like right now. And this is to be expected. So now we do this. I know we just zeroed it out, but we're going to re-zero it out when we're done. And we're going to start moving this to get it how we want it. This process, as you can see, can be a little lengthy, but it is very much worth it and important. So make sure you do it right. And now we know that this is kind of where we need it. As you can see, it looks like it's out a little bit, but once we have some armor on, it's going to be far less noticeable. If it's a huge issue, then we can adjust animations later. When I wind up having to do that, obviously I'll make a video on how to do that. But for now, we now have this set how it needs to be. We're not done though. Now we need to go to hand R, because that's where we're going to be having our melee weapon attached when it gets equipped. So let's come over here to find hand R. We're still on the left side, left. There we go, hand R. And on hand underscore R, the bone, not a socket, because remember the sockets are currently bugged for some reason. Add preview asset. We're going to look for our preview asset again. Underscore. Great. And now we need to adjust this so it is in the exact same location. And rotation. Whoops, not the bone, not the bone. Ah, it does need okay, that's right. Let's see here. So we can't rotate the bone, obviously. So weapon attach is at the same location as the hand, as you can see. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this to get the right location and rotation. So we need to right click. Unfortunately, we can't remove just one. We have to remove all. Come back up here. Right click on this. Add asset. SKM underscore greatsword. Oh, of course it did that. There we go. And then all the way back down here. Right now, this socket doesn't work, but we're using it just to get the the data we need. SKM underscore great. There. Now this we can rotate. There we go. And it's about matching this up. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're like me, it's going to wind up being closer than most people would care to try to do. Okay. Almost there. Ah. Okay, so there needs to be a little bit more rotation. That. You know what? I'm going to turn off the snapping for all of it for this one. Otherwise, it's never going to get done. We want to get this to being as close to perfect as possible right here. All right, that's pretty close. There we go. It can still get better, but not by much. But now we have it set. But we're not keeping these as they are. We need to zero them back out. So for that, we need to come back in here. Can't remember if it's in the visuals or not. Let me check here. Okay, no, it's right here in the great sword. The offsets. So we need to do the offsets here. So let's bring this over here. Make that a bit smaller. Back over here to our wonderful mesh. Okay. And the first thing we are going to do, because we have it already here, is the weapon visual attach offset. So this is what's when it's in our hand. So we will copy, paste, copy, paste. And now that's where it'll be. Then we need to come scroll back up. Actually, before we do that, let's reset these to 0. Because they don't need to be anything else now. It's important to reset them to 0, or when we hit play, things are not going to look as they should. Now we're going to hit copy on that and open up the holstered and paste it in location. Now copy rotation, paste it into rotation, And now reset those. We hit compile and save. Perfect. Now then, I know all we did was set up this and it took 15 minutes, but the rest that we're going to do is going to take far longer than that. So I'm going to end this video here because this is a perfect stopping point. So in the next one, we are going to get the unequipping and equipping set up. And once we are done with that, if we still have time, we will then um, get into the actual abilities, attacking abilities themselves. So it's going to be one or two more episodes before we're done. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.